So the doctor has just joined the room and given you the most depressing, heartbreaking news. A diagnosis that you can barely live with. You, Chief, suck at Rust PvP. Pretty cringe if you ask me. Hey, no, don't cry. Come on, Uncle Boar can fix this. Sit down at the campfire, have a nice hot beverage, and we are gonna go over the most frustrating things that Rust can throw at you and how to overcome them quite easily without knowing anything about how to fight other players. Now, me personally, I've been playing Rust for 600 hours by now, and my PvP skill is, Yo, Scandi, how would you rate my PvP skill in Rust?
Oh god, I mean, where do I start? I mean, your aim is decent, I guess, if you only count the bullets that hit the sky, that is. You can't use cover to your advantage, you cannot use movement to your advantage, you don't use the alt key at all. I don't even know why do I play with you? I'm quite amazed you haven't quit Rust yet. I mean, you do have a decent chance against the NPCs sometimes, but your success rate is still about 50%. You only win the bears when you can see them beforehand, and if...
Alright, now that I've proven my point and simultaneously completely annihilated my self-esteem, let's get right into the structure of this video. Step 1 of keeping things fun and maintaining a good attitude is decreasing the amount of frustration that you have to face, and the biggest factor for all of that, by far, is location. Location determines how many players you will most likely have to encounter for each individual wipe, and it will set the parameters on how available resources are going to be. Now, I wish I had known this sooner myself, but picking the right location starts by choosing the correct server for you. And by that I mean staying the heck away from official servers and choosing something with below 50 active players. This is mostly for the vanilla gameplay. However, if your reason for being bad at this game is being new to the game and you don't really know anything about it, I would very much advise you to go onto one of the PvE servers where other players cannot hurt you, and then you can figure everything out for yourself. That being said, players that consider themselves noobs or only bad at the game because they haven't even played it that much yet should very much pay attention to the following category, which is...
You know what I like more than my Lamborghini?
knowledge. In the world of Rust knowledge, it all comes down to answers for questions. Questions such as, which one of these handguns does the most damage? How much health does this wall have? How does base building work? What's a 2x1? What's a 2x2? How the heck does an airlock work? What is a bunker? And who is this evil Vost guy? And why is nobody capable of pronouncing his name correctly?
Evil worst.
Also, how do players use a campfire to be able to tell if somebody's on their doorstep? And another classic, do you have games on your phone? It is quite crucial to have as much information as possible about the game and about its mechanics, because there will come a situation where you know something that the other player does not, which will lead to a very nice opportunity for you to have the upper hand. And trust me, having the upper hand feels damn good. But let's say you do know your stuff, you know your crafting recipes, you figured out that the wolf is a little bit of a pain in the ass, not very cozy, and travels in packs of 3 nowadays, and that the bear claws your face off, and you have to ramp up your audio levels slightly to hear its footsteps before it actually comes out of the bushwork, because it will mess you up very hard. Or maybe that's my problem. It might be my problem. But anyways, let's say you know your stuff. You found a server, you want to join it, it looks nice, it's got 50 max players and maybe like 10 to 20 actual active players. Check the statistics of said server on Battlemetrics. See if it actually lines up, see if it actually has the stats that it claims to have, because so many times it happens that you join a server, you got that hopeful little spark in your eyes because you know, ooh, this thing wiped 2 hours ago, and what's that? What's that? A big fat compound base with automated turrets powered by the sun, sending you straight to Jesus? How the hell is that possible? Well, because the number isn't always accurate. So I would advise you to double check. That being said, let's move on to the second part of location, often overlooked, extremely important. Drum roll please, because it is the map. Come here. Let's take a look at this map right here. So, whenever you spawn, you will spawn on the beach, and the beach is most likely going to be close to harbor and lighthouse, but you're not going to just spawn anywhere on the map on the beach. There's usually just around about 2 to 3 spots where you can spawn. Everything else is off limits. You won't spawn on the desert beach, and you won't spawn on the coast right next to the snowy biomes most of the time, which is good to know and good to keep in mind, because you don't want to build there. Anything that nakeds spawn right next to and see is not a very nice place to build a home. Same goes for roads, because even in the post-apocalypse, roads still do what roads always did. They transport people safely from A to B, and by transport I mean lead, because otherwise that would be ridiculous. That's a roller coaster. Anyways, alright, so let's mark out the road, scratch out the beach, and let's say on your travels you have encountered 5 player bases here, there, and there. What does that leave us with? What do we actually want to build? Quite simple, you want to have a healthy, nice, short, crisp distance to your nearest recycler and green card monument. Because if you have a long distance, you're going to have to take longer trips. And longer trips you are most likely going to take with more loot to recycle and a bigger payload to get home safely, meaning that you have higher risk of losing it all. You have to think of this as a time investment. You want to depot your loot as often as possible, and you want to get your recyclables safe as often as possible as well. So it is quite advisable to build near a recycling place, not too close, but not too far either, because going full hermit crab can bring a load of disadvantages with it anyways. For example, I once built on a secluded island that you could walk to on a dirt path. That dirt path got claimed later on by somebody who decided to place auto turrets there. From that day on, I had to swim about 5 minutes each time I wanted to leave the island. It was humiliating, and it hindered my progress greatly. Alright, now that you have found the right server and the right place on the map, let's get to building. I can't really tell you anything other than you should look up a building tutorial depending on your circumstance. So, possible farmer bases, trap bases, for solo, for duo, for trio. There's a lot of tutorials out there. I can only warmly recommend you check out or some other YouTubers that very much specify on this kind of thing. And the other thing that I can tell you for building is you can skip the tier 1 workbench or crafting and placing it by going to Outpost, crafting the tier 2 on the tier 1 that they have available. That's a thing you can do. The other thing that I like to do is if the forest is not very generous that day and doesn't give me a nice animal to get the low grade for my furnace, I like to get the low grade from nearby caves and their little lanterns and candle hats and whatever there is down there. Visit a cave, I think 3 to 4 times, and you should be good to get your very first furnace going. Okay, now that you know where to build roughly and how to figure out a nice base location, and you also know that there's things you should know about the game that you may not know that are definitely going to give you an upper hand, let's talk about skills for a short period of time. It's not a big factor. Personally, I think the things that you really need to do is be capable of farming and running monuments. Learn how to run a monument. Like, how many scientists is there? What do I need to do here? Where's the keycard go? Why is the fuse box not working? Oh, there's a lever? Oh, well, how do I flip the lever? Where do I have to go? It's on the back side of the building? Who the hell designed this? And then once you got all of that down, You will learn step by step that there's faster ways of doing it. For example, on Supermarket, you can jump onto the recycler, from the recycler onto the barbed wire fence, and from there onto the roof. It's quite a nice way to get to the roof, and it saves you the hassle of walking all around into the other room and then getting up to that ladder, blah blah blah. Shortcuts like those and other useful information. Where do we get that? Me personally, I found it the very easiest to befriend Rust Chads and actually just play with them and ask them for these informations. Or maybe not even ask them, just follow them around and see what they do, because most likely if there is a person that is considerably a Rust Chad with multiple thousand hours under their belt, they're not gonna take the long, slow, painful routes. They're gonna do things the most effective way, the most easy way, the fastest way, and get away with it most of the time. Another option, if you suck at socializing, maybe you're shy, another thing that you could do is just watch very professional Rust players, such as, streamers, YouTubers, that play the game and play it well, and just watch what they do. It's kind of like old school Minecraft if you think about it. Back in the day when nobody really knew how to play Minecraft, like, who told you how to make an obby portal? At first, it wasn't even the wiki. The wiki was shit. It was just like friends that told you, oh, you can do this and that, and then you see hero bright. Just do that. Just do that. Listen to friends if you can, or make friends. Rust is actually, even though it's quite a toxic game in terms of, other players being super hostile, at the point of the game is eradicating each other off the map and raiding each other in the most frustrating way possible, you can make friends here. It's possible. The community itself is quite surprisingly uplifting and nice, and sometimes you even, after being raided, you can just talk to the guys and realize they're not so bad. Might have been acting like an asshole the whole time, but once they're done, and once they got their win, or once you got yours, at the end of the day, we're just chilling at Outpost playing instrument. And I think that's one of the other factors that you have to consider is, how do you get your kick out of it? Because so far we've only been talking about how to avoid frustrations, how to get those mistakes out of your way that lead to very frustrating experiences. But what about pleasure? What about enjoyment? What about fun? Fun, 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 fun! Me, personally, I like the social aspect. I don't like playing alone as much as I like playing with others, but I tend to stick to smaller groups, or especially duos, because that's what brings me my enjoyment. But it might be different for you. Maybe you like door camping. Maybe you're an absolute little grub. Maybe you want to see other people suffer. Maybe you want to give them a little bit of a heart attack and play the guitar at night right next to their base. See if they come out. Spook them a little. Harass them in the voice chat. Who knows? Maybe you like to be a good guy. Maybe you want to be a potato farmer. Or you want to fish some trout. I don't care. The game offers a large variety of options to enjoy it. And it gets to the point where people say there's only one right way, and the right way is to be the Chad that just kills everyone and gets all the loot and survives the wipe. Maybe maybe you don't even want to be the Chad. I think that's okay. I think that's okay too. Obviously this is coming from a loser who can't really play the game after 600 hours, but I can proudly say that I'm enjoying it. Still, to this day. And I will keep enjoying it even though I'm losing. That being said, for the sake of content, I think it would be nice if my Rust skills were actually kind of better, because then I can stream it and watching me won't suck as much. So, if you're interested in a part 2 video where Boar tries to become, I don't want to say good, but let's say decent at this game, then let me know in the comments, because I got 2 people, like I said, that are capable of helping me, and that could actually run me through a little bit of a Rust boot camp, kick my ass, maybe test my limits, maybe I could learn the spray of a gun or whatever, and, I think that would be fun to watch. Why not? Why not? We could do it. Alright, now, since you made it to the very end of this video, and I very much appreciate you for that, I'm gonna let you in on a little bit of a secret. This video consists of 126 tiny little Windows voice recordings that I did, and I have rejected about 80% of them, and only the good stuff made it into this video. And I am slowly losing my mind here. So next time I will have a more effective way of doing this, but so far it's been the best I could come up with. Anyways, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope you could take something away from it, and if it isn't some sort of tip or trick or something you didn't know, then I want you to go out of this with at least the healthy mindset that Rust is a game like any other, and as such, it should be fun or at least enjoyable. And if you aren't enjoying it, if frustration is building up, if shit is happening and it's hitting the fan and then the window and then the room and the walls, take a breather, leave your computer gaming station for a second, grab a cup of tea, and come back. Don't expose yourself to a chain of misfortunes, because if that happens, that's when, mental health really starts suffering, and you might get a heart rate that might not be okie dokie anymore. Now, enough with preaching about health. I hope you have a good one today. Boar over and out.